WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. As more coronavirus cases are reported, community leaders are having to make some tough decisions. Last night, Aberdeen Mayor Maurice Howard announced he wanted a shelter-in-place order and was going to bring the issue before the Board of Aldermen tonight. Our Chris Bolton has the latest from Aberdeen City Hall. Chris?
Joey, of course, we have Mayor Maurice Howard and the Board of Aldermen are meeting right now as they're going over the proposals that they have for the city with the spreading of the coronavirus. Now, the first thing that they talked about, there was a motion that was recently passed as regards with recommending a professional cleaning company for Food Giant and that they show certification of the cleaning. They're also discussing now about the city possibly having a curfew. So we'll see, as they're discussing that right now, we'll see if they make a decision on that tonight. If they do, we'll have the very latest later on tonight on WCBI News at 9 and 10. But for now, reporting in Aberdeen, Chris Bolton, WCBI News.
New at 6, a fight inside of a car ends with a man being run over along with his girlfriend stuck in a fence and on her way to jail. The incident happened just off Highway 45 about 4 this afternoon. Police Chief Fred Shelton says the couple got into a fight inside their vehicle. They pulled into a car dealership parking lot and the man got out and started walking away. Shelton believes that's when the girlfriend hit him with the vehicle. She then tried to escape through an alleyway but got stuck. Police say the unidentified suspect got out of the car and started hitting the victim. Shelton says she will be charged with assault. The man has serious injuries. A shooting at a Louisville plant early this morning leaves one man injured and another man facing charges. Louisville police officers were called to Winston Plywood and Veneer shortly after 3 a.m. Officers found Hassan Jordan with a gunshot wound. They arrested Timothy Hemphill. He's charged with aggravated assault. Police Chief Sean Holderness says both men are employees at the plant and were on a break when the shooting happened. Jordan was treated at Winston Medical Center and released. Hemphill is awaiting an initial appearance. Police continue to investigate that shooting. A Macon woman is indicted on several drug charges after being arrested last August. An Oxby County grand jury indicted Paula George on trafficking methamphetamine along with 3 counts of possession of a controlled substance. Macon police say they were tipped off about drugs being at George's Washington Street home. Meth and oxycodone were allegedly found in the house. In the midst of the coronavirus outbreak, federal prisons are still having to transfer inmates to different facilities all over the U.S., but that decision is creating major concerns. Union representatives at the federal prison in Aliceville, Alabama, are calling for an inmate movement to stop. Our Quentin Smith speaks with a union rep who says these transfers are putting them at a higher risk to contract the virus.
Last week, roughly 40 inmates were transferred to this federal prison facility in Aliceville, Alabama. The Federal Bureau of Prisons say they test all inmates for COVID-19 prior to them being transferred. However, one union rep inside tells me that still does not eliminate his fears that one of those inmates could still potentially bring that fatal virus inside with them, putting everyone at risk.
This week we're scheduled to have 20, and we have another potential 180 that are scheduled to come into the institution.
Terrence Wyndham is a rep with the American Federation of Government Employees Union. He admits, due to the rapid spread of the coronavirus, he has some serious concerns about new inmates coming into the Women's Federal Correctional Institution.
The biggest concern is that you're going to introduce an inmate that potentially could have some kind of COVID-19 virus, or they could be expanding that virus to the inmate population, which could in turn expand it to the staff.
All new inmates will have to be quarantined for 14 days once they arrive at the facility. But but Wyndham thinks they'll still be at risk. That's why he and state lawmakers have now sent a request to the Bureau of Prisons requesting they suspend all inmate movement until further notice.
Just keep all the inmates where they are, not have any inmates come into the institution, keep them housed where they are, because where we are inside, we know that we don't have any inmates currently that have the virus. But if you introduce new inmates in, you don't know what you're introducing into the institution.
In an email, the Bureau of Prisons say it is limiting its transfers, but under federal law cannot suspend all inmate movement. Under the new limitations, the BOP says inmates will be transferred for reasons such as to provide necessary medical or mental health treatment, interstate agreements on detainers, or to manage overcrowding, just to name a few. However, Wyndham says he still disagrees with the reasoning, and he'll continue calling for the transfers to come to a halt.
I'm hoping that as this crisis progresses, that they realize the dangers and the potential danger that they put the staff as well as inmates in, and that they will stop it. Not sure if they will do it or not, but it's not going to be because we didn't try to advocate for that to happen.
According to the Bureau of Prisons, so far, roughly 30 inmates and 30 staff members have tested positive for COVID-19. Reporting live in Dallasville, Alabama, Quentin Smith, WCBI News.
To read the Bureau of Prisons' full statement on inmate transfers during the virus outbreak, you can visit our website, WCBI.com.
Weather-wise today, some gloomy conditions, some rain this morning. But right now we are looking at some clearing conditions out there. Live view in Louisville, Mississippi. A great sunset to be had here not too far in the distant future. Some friendly clouds, some blue skies showing on up. So a bit breezy out there. We've got mid and upper 50s in most spots, and temperatures will gradually cool as we go throughout the evening hours. So by 9 o'clock, clearing 50 degrees, cooling down to 48 by 11. Lows tonight down into the lower 40s, if not some upper 30s, but we'll clear the clouds out. Look at all that blue sky in the forecast for tomorrow. Back up into the mid to maybe upper 60s. Not too bad here. Seasonable, a great spring day for us. We'll get those temperatures back into the 70s later this week. We'll show you that in your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
President Trump has extended guidelines for social distancing until the end of April. Now families are facing an extra month of staying at home to help flatten the curve of the coronavirus. Our Stephanie Poole talks with 3 families about how they're managing their new way of life.
Social distancing has placed a temporary hold on normal everyday routines. People are now homebound and are trying to cope with this change as much as possible.
So we're trying to keep the kids busy and somewhat educated while we're trying to get a lot done. So it's been stressful, but good at the same time.
Amanda Stone is a mother of 2. After weeks of being at home, Stone says her family created ways to stay active and connected with friends and family.
We go to the wildlife refuge a lot. We walk around our neighborhood a lot. And we are lucky to be able to have a big backyard where they can go and play and do painting and water activities and stuff outside. My older son is 4, and he has been Zooming with his classmates a few times, so that has been helping him still see his friends and getting some interaction.
However, others say social distancing is creating more stress than usual.
I have to work from home, and so that's been a challenge mentally.
Parker Lee says he and his wife have to rotate different rooms in their home to utilize the amount of space, and they try to keep a normal routine every day.
Keeping a sleep schedule semi-regular, right? Don't sleep until 10. Get up at 8 when you normally would. Go to work your normal hours, get dressed, take a shower. Just keeping some form of a rhythm in their life, I think, is huge.
But for some people who live alone, the pressure of self-isolation is starting to really kick in.
Have any family here, so the few friends and acquaintances I do have, it's, I haven't been able to really see much or at all, reading articles and trying to keep up to date on what's going on locally and nationally. So it's a little bit of a struggle, but I'm just trying to stay positive.
All they can do now is wait and try to stay in high spirits until quarantine is over. These families say they will continue to practice these routines to keep with the busy schedule. Reporting in Lowndes County, Stephanie Poole, WCBI News.
The CDC is still encouraging groups of no larger than 10 people and to stay indoors as much as possible.
Nearly 3 months after taking office, Monroe County Sheriff Kevin Crook is getting his department back up to full staffing. We'll introduce you to the newest deputies. We'll have their stories coming up on WCBI News.
You're watching WCBI's News at 6 with Joey Barnes.
Welcome back, everyone. Monroe County's new sheriff now has his department fully staffed just 3 months after taking office. As Allie Martin reports, the new deputies are eager to protect and serve, especially at a time of heightened anxiety because of the coronavirus.
For Monroe County Sheriff Deputy Trevor Stegall, police work is in his blood.
A couple of my uncles, cousins, everyone's in it, so I've seen the good that they've done while I was growing up, and I just wanted to be a big part of that.
Deputy Stegall is one of 4 new hires at the Monroe County Sheriff's Department. He and Deputy Chelsea Chapman graduated from the North Mississippi Law Enforcement Training Center in Tupelo, while Deputy Dylan Pickle graduated from the Mississippi Delta Law Enforcement Training Academy in Moorhead. The training was intense.
I prepared myself a little bit beforehand. Mentally was the big challenge for sure, because I had never been in a high-stress situation like that. But I mean, overall, academy experience, I loved it. I loved every second of it, the good times and the bad times. So,
rounding out the newest members of the sheriff's office is 46-year-old Tyrone Hurd. He once worked for the Tupelo Police and was hired as a school resource officer after retiring from the Army.
Being a blessing in January, I was just sitting around, just wondering what I was going to do. So an opportunity came about from the sheriff.
Officer Hurd enjoys working with students and says he's ready to get back into the schools when the coronavirus pandemic has run its course.
I just want to make a difference in the kids' life, somebody that they can talk to and trust. And, throughout their high school and college career, I tell them that I'll be there for you, you need me. So just trying to be a positive role model.
Monroe County Sheriff Kevin Crook knows his newest deputies have all received top-notch training. He wants to also instill the importance of leadership from the top down.
I know they just got out of the academy, but I expect them to learn and grow in their leadership abilities because we're going to need them in the future to take over and to lead.
The sheriff gave the 3 recent academy graduates a book on leadership, and all of the newest law officers are ready to make a difference.
Just getting out and doing what I can to make Monroe County better.
Allie Martin, WCBI News.
The recent academy graduates will be with a field training officer for the next 15 weeks. And Keith, at least I guess they'll have some good weather tomorrow.
Tomorrow, really the rest of the work week is looking pretty good. We mentioned this at 5. Joey, we dodged the bullet as far as the severe weather today just to our southeast. Wind and tornadoes. Look at this in southeastern Alabama. A big tornado causing some damage. But again, for us, we're looking at some great weather for the next few days. Your full forecast is next.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
We are looking good as we get into the middle of the work week. Let's talk about your Wednesday forecast. Bright sunshine, 67 degrees is a pretty good bet here across our region. Thursday, a few more clouds, but a little bit warmer, 72 degrees, and probably about 73 on Friday. Can't rule out an isolated shower here, but not a lot of moisture really on Friday. Maybe a slightly better chance as we get into your Saturday. The April outlook here, again, April is tomorrow. Can you believe it for us here in the southeast? Warmer and perhaps wetter than normal conditions coming our way. We'll just see how it all plays out. We know it's been warm and wet so far this year, so if that does pan out, no surprise. But we are going to keep it dry Wednesday, Thursday. Rain opportunities a little bit here in the forecast for Friday through Sunday. I think we'll have a better opportunity as we get into Monday and Tuesday of next week. So that's what's coming our way. Here's our time lapse from Columbus today. Look at those low stratus clouds right there moving on through. A bit gloomy out there. We've had a few showers this afternoon, but the heaviest right now well off to our southeast, and things are looking very good. You can see it firsthand with our Alpha Insurance Camera Network. 56 in Columbus, 59 in Tupelo, at Durham's and Vernon, 55, Louisville, Mississippi, 57. Going to have a great sunset here. Let's go back to 5 a.m. We had the rain. You got to I-20, and that little tail on this thing, that thing really produced some severe weather. Tornadoes, wind damage, and that moved all the way across the southeast, now moving into the Atlantic Ocean. In its wake, cool but quiet conditions around here. And that means a chilly night tonight, down into the lower 40s, if not a few upper 30s as those clouds go away. Tomorrow, your Wednesday, chilly to start, 60 by noon, 67 in the afternoon, around 60 tomorrow evening. So things are looking pretty good here. Bright sunshine across the board in North Mississippi and West Alabama. Take advantage if you can get out and about. I know I have a big yard to mow tomorrow morning, and that's my plan, and I'm sure some of you will be taking advantage of that as well to get out and do some chores. 72 in Mobile, 71 in Little Rock tomorrow, 60 in Atlanta. High pressure coming on in, so the clouds are on the way out. Look at that. The clouds go away. We will have abundant sunshine tomorrow. We may see a few higher clouds drift on in tomorrow night into our Thursday, so we'll just go with a mix of sun and clouds here. But we are going to stay dry. There will be a system that will be waiting in the wings here going into Friday, so some of that moisture could give us a slight chance for a shower. I think more clouds than anything else here, so not really a lot going on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Our overnight lows will be chilly in the near term, but moderating back into the 50s this weekend. Saturday, 74, 80 on Sunday. A better chance for some rain and storms as we get into next week. All right, there's your AccuWeather 7-day forecast. The show continues after the break.
WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Yeah, my name is Mark Rogers.
And my name's Chris Latimer. And
I'm Robbie Donahoe.
I came in right after Chris left, and so I came on board right there at the start of the football season in 2001.
I started at WCBI in December of 2006.
What was your favorite story to cover while at WCBI? If there was one certain, I don't know if it's just like a major event, like, for instance, like an NCAA tournament, or like if there was a story you'll always remember doing that ended up being your favorite.
I was standing in that same end zone when Peyton Manning threw his first touchdown pass. It was like my third week at WCBI, and Peyton Manning threw his first touchdown pass as a college football player. But Mississippi State came back and won that game. And I was standing in that same end zone when I think it was Derek Tate threw the touchdown pass to a tight end. I was right in front of me in that end zone. It was my first game at Mississippi State in Scott Field. And then a few years later, Chris could help me out on the quarterback. I think it was Stuart Patridge, if I get that right, for Ole Miss, threw a game-winning touchdown. And then a two-point conversion to beat Mississippi State. And Tommy Tuberville was so fired up. He and Jackie Sherrill met at midfield, and Tuberville just kind of gave him a slap across the wrist. And, I shouted something and took off. And just the rivalry between the two schools in all sports, but obviously in football, stands out to me.
Yeah, it was that run that they made in the Final Four. And that's the easy one, and that's the obvious answer, but that's the truth. And in fact, somebody emailed me just yesterday saying that in their coronavirus self-quarantine, they had watched those boys from state, and that was good viewing for a COVID-19 lockdown. So people are still watching that right now, and WCBI did a great job with that. They beat Santa Clara. And Santa Clara had Steve Nash at the time. Then they beat Utah, and Utah had Keith Van Horn. And then the next year, they make that run to the Final Four, and they take down Ray Allen in the Sweet 16, beat Kentucky, which everybody thought was the #1 team in the country and was going to run away with it in the SEC tournament. And then when they beat Cincinnati in the Elite Eight, I know Mark went to that game. I was holding down the fort. But when everybody got back to the GTR airport, the line was out to the highway, and you couldn't get in there. Wall-to-wall people, layers of people on chairs, people on sofas standing waiting for this team to come in. So I really remember that moment when the Bulldogs came back from beating Cincinnati. They were Final Four bound. We were live at the GTR airport, and that was one of my favorite shows.
For some reason or somehow, I convinced the station to let me go to Pasadena to cover the Alabama-Texas BCS championship game in 2009. I didn't quite know that was going to be at the start of the dynasty that just about everybody wants to end now. But it was really cool. One, being in the Rose Bowl, but two, just being around the Alabama fans who had been waiting for 17 years to win a national championship, you know, I wasn't. It was a little bit easier to deal with them when it had been almost 2 decades since they won a national championship. So they were actually kind of fun to be around back then. But it was really cool being in that setting and being in the middle of it when they won their first.
The fact that we get to cover at WCBI 3 SEC teams. And so it was neat covering Eli Manning's final 3 years at Ole Miss. It was pretty cool to be a part of history when Sylvester Croom gets the Mississippi State head football coaching job. But I've got to echo what Mark was talking about earlier, the rivalry. I mean, I was born and raised in Madison, Wisconsin, so I'm a huge Badger fan. You know, we talked about Wisconsin, Minnesota, the longest rivalry in the country, but there is nothing in the world that can compete with this rivalry between Mississippi State and Ole Miss. And I just remember those times where, you know, I don't know how you guys deal with it now with social media. I mean, I got stuff thrown at me at both places. I mean, people, I go to Ole Miss and I have to hear, well, Mississippi State must be off today. That's why you're up here. Or vice versa when I'm at the other place. And so the rivalry, I always like electric atmospheres, you know, those Friday nights of high school football. And with those rivalry games with State and Ole Miss, those are the ones that really stand out.
Morgan Williams' shot against UConn to win that game was arguably probably one of the most defining moments in sports history for not just Mississippi State, but the state of Mississippi as a whole, because I don't think people fully realize, you know, the magnitude, and obviously Derek can speak to this as well because he was there on the floor shooting that shot, because we're the local TV guys and we couldn't be on the floor, but actually getting to be in the arena for that shot and ending UConn's 111 game win streak where they'd win to multiple national championships. I mean, we'll never see anything like that ever again, more than likely, in basketball, because the last time we had seen that was UCLA with Lou Alcindor and Bill Walton's teams back in the 60s and 70s. So, because there's so much more parity in college basketball, I think that's what made that shot so much more significant in the history, the sports landscape history, not just in all the country, but in Mississippi for sure.
Skies are clearing right now, and that means a chilly night tonight relative to where we have been recently, down to around 40 degrees. But look at all that sunshine for our Wednesday. Mostly sunny Thursday. We're back into the lower 70s here. Not too bad. A little bit warmer for your weekend. Better rain chances, I think, as we get into next Monday and Tuesday, Joey. So let's enjoy this little reprieve for the next few days.
Yeah, it's a good-looking forecast right there, Keith.
Sure thing.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Have a great night.